And to dismember government in general. And if you could destroy Social Security, you will have gone a long way forward in that effort.
The Koch brothers are big oil personified, and they're carbon barons. They make most of their money running pipelines around the continent. This proposed Keystone Pipeline is a 1,700-mile fuse to the biggest carbon bomb on the continent.
It is going to take the dirtiest energy, the so-called tar sands, and bring them down the United States.
The Koch brothers, they'll have access to this unbelievable pool of carbon-intense money. There are trillions of dollars worth of oil up there.
Any spill means that the dirtiest, nastiest fuel on Earth will be poured all over our country.
Over 10,000 protesters surrounded the White House Sunday, calling on President Obama to reject the proposed Keystone XL tar sands oil pipeline.
And we say tar sands, you say shut down tar sands. Shut down. Tar sands.
We're never going to have enough money to compete with the Koch brothers. We're going to have to find other currencies to use. And sometimes it's our bodies. Over 2 weeks in Washington, 1,253 people got arrested. That was the largest civil disobedience action in about 30 years in this country. I myself was arrested on the first day of this protest and spent the next 3 days in Central Cell Block in D.C.
We played the game as hard as we could, making it clear to President Obama that there were people all over the country really deeply concerned about this. And in the end, that was enough to outweigh the financial power of the Koch brothers and the rest of the oil industry.
President Obama making an unexpected decision on the Keystone oil pipeline.
The president announcing they were going to hold off on a final decision for at least a year.
The Obama administration said today it is putting off a decision on whether to approve the Keystone pipeline.
The Koch brothers will scrape the bottom of the barrel with the tar sands. That is the dirtiest fuel on the planet. There's no limit to the number of communities and families they will hurt to make their money off dirty energy.
Something is wrong on this street, Penn Road, where I live. Something is wrong here in this community.
It's killing people. Just like he killed my daughter.
I live on Penn Road. People call me Mr. Bowie because I'm a minister. I pastored church for 22 years in this area. I'm a reserve deputy sheriff, and I'm a senior citizen. This house is Mr. Warfield Gibbs. His wife, Bobby Sue Gibbs, passed away with multi-cancers a few years ago. I have to do this 3 to 4 times a day. This house here belongs to Mr. George Parker and Miss Ollie Parker. Both of them was taken out by cancer.
My husband died of lung cancer, and I am having breathing problems.
Mr. Tom Perkins and his wife, they live here. Mr. Tom Perkins is deceased now. He had multi-cancer. We have 15 homes in this area, and maybe 11 people has died or more with cancer, and that's unreal.
What's going on here is a crime.
It's just a waste. My daughter Letitia died at 43. She grew up in the neighborhood. She had a husband, a devoted husband. She had children that she really truly loved, and I think that she died too young. She was a non-smoker. She was not a drinker, and she got lung cancer. And you'll wonder where did it come from?
These people are sick. They're dying. This is inexcusable. That's murderous.
Good to see you again.
When I met Mr. Bowie, I could not believe what was going on in this neighborhood.
I think it has to do with our environment, what we smell, what we inhale. We were deer hunting in the back, and we noticed that there was such a strong odor back there.
The smell was so strong and so bad. It was awful. They have cut this huge channel, and it's like an open sewer line.
This is where the smell is coming from. You can see the steam coming from the stuff, and at times it gets so bad it's like a big cloud, and it gets up in the warm air, and it flows right over the trees where our property is. It causes the throat to be sore, eyes to hurt, nose, and it's hard to breathe in.
The first time that I came here, I saw the color of the water. It was like an epiphany. This right here, this private property, but if you could follow it in a straight line, you would be at Georgia Pacific's plant owned by Koch Industries.
It's pitiful that Koch allowed this kind of a stuff to be just dumped.
Once I saw this, I knew Koch Industries were the culprits. They know that these people are sick.
Koch Industries, Georgia Pacific, they employ thousands of people here in Crossett. And it's hard to come up against a company that employs so many people.
The neighborhood of Minieral is at ground zero. Right through these woods are these ditches carrying these various types of pollutions from the Georgia Pacific plant.
And that industrial process includes the use and discharges to the air and into the water of a lot of nasty chemicals. The Georgia Pacific complex in West Crossett releases millions of gallons a day of wastewater into a whole series of ditches. One might characterize these exposures as a ticking time bomb to the people's health that are breathing the air that's flowing from these open ditches.
It's such a hard battle that these people have here. They don't have money, and their state representatives are all influenced by the Koch brothers and this whole system they have put together to be able to do whatever they want to.
The Senate will come to order.
Koch brothers' direct contributions has been an investment well worth it. It's certainly a lot less expensive than actually having to retrofit factories.
The EPA will have doors locked and the lights turned off.
Koch Industries not only manipulates the political process, but more importantly to me, is they manipulate the public into believing that the EPA is killing jobs.
The EPA is intent on taking matters into their own hands, which will result in a bleeding of jobs.
It is a problem when politicians are calling EPA and saying, leave them alone, rather than calling them and saying, do your job and clean it up.
This bill is about protecting jobs.
Jobs.
What they try to do is just shut down this machine called America.
Koch is using natural streams to transport waste, and this is not allowed by the Clean Water Act. And they can do it because EPA lets them do it.
Koch Industries are repeat offenders of environmental crimes.
Koch Industries is one of the primary sources of pollution in the United States.
They have a history of serious and even criminal pollution problems.
Koch Industries subsidiaries have paid millions in environmental fines.
The Koch brothers are trying to stop the government from limiting greenhouse gas emissions.
Regulators have fined Koch Industries and its subsidiaries tens of millions for oil spills and pollution over the years.
In 2000, a federal grand jury returned a 97-count indictment against Koch Industries in Corpus Christi, Texas. They were charged not only with emitting more benzene than they were allowed to, they tried to cover it up.
Benzene is a known human carcinogen. People that are breathing benzene have increased risk of developing cancer. And that's known. It's not suspected, it is known.
But the Bush administration worked with Koch to come up with a plea bargain. So it went from 97-count indictment to 1 count, the potential of $350 million to just $20 million fine. As an environmental criminologist, watching this case evolve makes me sick. They know they can get away with it. They'll just wait and be fine if they ever get caught, which in most cases they won't ever be caught because the EPA is understaffed and underfunded.
The Koch brothers care more for the income than they do their neighbors, and people are constantly dying.
It's just called cheap and not caring about people or rivers or the environment or anyone but their bottom line.
David Koch, he can stop this, just as he donates millions of dollars to try to find a cure for cancer.
It began 16 years ago when I discovered that I had prostate cancer and that I had not long to live.
What kind of man is David if he has cancer and put all his money into research and then he's dumping in our backyard?
Today my cancer is very much under control, and my doctor advises me that I have many more years to live.
He was able to buy good medicine, to see the best doctors.
The fact that this magnificent research facility has been named after me is probably the greatest honor I've ever been awarded.
With David Koch, knowing that he has been right there where we, the people of this community, are now. And when you look around you and see people dying every day, then that's shocking to us.
I've lived here for 39 years. My husband died of lung cancer, and I am having breathing problems, and I feel that I might eventually have lung problems.
The Koch brothers, I'm reaching out, hoping and asking them to fix this problem because we need help here.
In the Old West, they called it being outgunned. They're outgunned by the Koch brothers. So I feel like their only hope is to make people realize what's happening here.
If I could talk to Koch brothers face to face, I just really believe them dying now, just a slow death what it is.
The Koch brothers are killing me and my family. I feel that George Pacific and Koch is responsible for my daughter's death.
This is inexcusable, and something's got to be done about it.